Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. Hope you had a fantastic opening night. I was trying to watch a goddamn basketball game. My wife kept telling me that Alex Caruso, who's a bench player for Oklahoma City, um, is Brian Laundrie. He's also a dead person. So, yay. I'm just kidding. I love my wife. The Indiana Pacers basketball organization plays a game tonight that counts. I believe they're on the road in Minnesota. For my new Pacers fans, people that have decided. Okay. Oh, they play the Thunder. Sorry. When do they play? What's today? Tomorrow. Oh, I guess they start tomorrow. I thought they had a game today. That's on me. Brian Laundrie, yeah. Morning, everybody. So, hey, I think, you know how I do it, is I try to talk about first what's most important, and the most important thing that I could iterate to you today is that there will be no SNAP payments in the month of November, let me find the news article. Um, so if there was any doubt in your mind, okay, and I'm one of those people. I ain't saying it if I didn't see somebody else say it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be the first to break. You know what I mean? Who wants to be that guy? Apparently Donald Trump. Fucking crazy, right? But here's awesome. It didn't copy. Love when that happens too. First things first. Okay. Here's the first story I saw about supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits will not be issued for November due to the ongoing government shutdown. So that's correct. The Republican Supreme Court, presidency, Senate, and House will absolutely shut down the government to avoid accountability and literally starve people. 42 million people get SNAP. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about a No Kings protest? You got to understand a large contingency of people. And we had this conversation the other day, and we should have had kept it. Because I maintain a contingency that a considerable portion of the voting population is disabled and not really able to fucking protest. And what's happening here is the President of the United States formally has said SNAP, Medicare, and Social Security, Medicare are going to be gone. Donald J. Trump. They are going to take. Hey. You know what? As long as the people that are really angry, yep. As long as the people are really angry, know who they're angry at. Data says overwhelmingly that Americans blame Republicans for this shutdown. Just so you know. Man, those Epstein files must be damning. That's all I could think. Is it worth sacrificing people, literally? The answer is fucking no, if you ask me. Hey Jared, do you think like there's a number of people you should sack? No, I ain't trying to Occam's razor every fucking thing. Some things you don't touch. And if anything, you expand. Again, I think everybody should get food stamps $500 every Friday. Thanks for playing. Until you turn it down. Hey, kill the messenger. Okay? I'm just telling you what's going on. Look at this shit. Grijalva's suing Congress. So so if Mike Johnson ain't blocking a vote to release the Epstein files, why the fuck is a duly elected official having a fucking sue? Why is Grijalva having a sue? And by the way, I watched a fucking 2 minute clip of Mike Johnson. That's the Speaker of the House? Are you out of your motherfucking mind? And oh, by the way, yeah, APAC. Holy shit. Hey, we have to get 600 people to run for office that are like, fuck APAC. Or we are fucked. Because every member of the Republican Party is going to take APAC money now. Because they're losing fucking money. They're losing people. Yeah. And I want to point out that the Argentinian bailout, that's an escape plan. Their whole plan is to bankrupt the United States, sell it to foreign entities, and fucking escape. To Israel, to Argentina, Venezuela. Remember, I told you he sees the north shore of Venezuela as beachfront property. Do you know the last place he saw as like the Riviera? Gaza. So just everybody like, oh yeah, it's completely normal. Yeah, business is normal. Hey, Snap stops in November. Thanksgiving. This means Thanksgiving time. This means the people that are really good, that spend a lot of their money on candy for trick-or-treaters, that means that reload that they were anticipating in November that will reload their bank account and also let them buy Thanksgiving, yeah, that's fucking gone. And I just want to continue to point out that the initial cuts happened in fucking July. And oh, by the way, I watched a video this morning of a farmer in the United States growing a crop that only China would buy, complaining and saying that he needed bailed out. Otherwise, he gonna have to shut his entire operation down because no one else will buy the crop he grows. And my first question, and again, I'm a socialist and I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, housing. I'm anti tax, anti interest, right? Stop paying your credit cards. Like, I'm on that whole shit. There's a reason my job, right? But here's the thing. I don't think that my tax dollars should pay for an American farmer to grow a crop that is only bought by China. What? I don't I don't think we should be subsidizing that. I think once your operation gets to the point where you're exporting a crop and you're the only one able to produce it and you're selling it to fucking China, why should Americans subsidize that? That's crazy. I I don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like that's crazy. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, right? That's fucking insane, okay? And remember, every day, remember we had a really good news day yesterday. So if you were anticipating back-to-back good news days, what? Yeah, I just thought about that. How yesterday we had such like good news all day. And you thought we were gonna have two of them in a row? Russia strikes Kharkiv kindergarten with drones. They only killed one person. That's just a dick move. North Korea is test firing ballistic missiles ahead of Trump's Asia trip. Russia attacking Ukraine big time. Hmm. Oh yeah. You know what's happening right now? That uh, Typhoon Jufre, uh, Virginia Giuffre's memoir is fucking them up. Hell yeah. For the record, I love Euro Maiden Press. That's such a metal ass name. Hell yeah. Check this fucking headline out. Finland's foreign minister to the West. Ukraine doesn't need help to surrender. It needs strength to win. And by the way, it's a woman. Go fucking figure. Looks like Alina Valtonen, Finnish foreign minister. Get it, girl. That's what I love to see. Just like I was explaining to my wife. My wife and I make a video. By the way, I have to share. Taylor, I have to share the video we made this morning with everybody. Just trying to explain to my wife that the Colts are doing really good, and it's because they're being run by a woman. And so my wife was asking me like about her role within the organization. So I was explaining. Mhm. Memoirs out today. Oh yeah. See, strong men do things, weak men speak. You're right. So there's a reason why you see all these right wing talking heads that are completely ineffective, right? They're not doers. They're not the people that have done the hard thing, you know. Mm. Well, Donald Trump and Putin's meeting got called off. So is that the rubber band snapping? Because I don't think things are. Hell yeah. That feels like a G.I. Joe reference. Ukraine hits Russian chemical plant with UK made Storm Shadow missiles. Come on. Here's the thing, if the bad guys are going to start World War III, they're going to be way behind. Way the fuck behind. Yeah. Half of Russia's refineries are offline. Basically, make it so they can't advance tanks and shit and large transport vehicles. That any think about this: the heavy things that take a lot of gas, you can't got to shut those down now. Look, I was fuck it, I was like the numbers guy when I was on active duty in the Marine Corps. So that was my job to calculate fuel for this group of vehicles for this long a trip with this many people on board. And so there's me calculating weight, time, how much fuel we're gonna need, and then having to fucking send that up, and 15 people are looking at your math before they turn it in. So when I say like half of Russia's oil refineries are offline, and then I think about, all right, if my fuel gets cut in half, okay, so most of my heavy equipment is out of the picture now. Movements, we're gonna be moving on foot a lot because that doesn't cost anything except bodies, and I got bodies. I feel a lot of things. I have PTSD, so you have to understand that my reaction to shit is devoid of a lot of like emotive things that you generally see with a person. The first thing that I think about all the people whose lives have been upended by these people. There are a handful of people on the planet that have fucked it all up for everybody else. Um, I feel bad for the Ukrainian people who were invaded. I feel especially bad for all those people that died in Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Now, I'm particularly proud and supportive of the surviving people of Ukraine that are fighting and winning in their home country and pushing back a poorly outfitted, poorly prepared and organized, absolutely overrated as fuck Russian military. By the way, which is getting a lot of support from other countries, and is doing horribly all the time. I just, I want to make sure we say it every fucking day. Free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. Russia is engaged in an illegal war that they are losing. So if you find yourself siding with Russia, I'm just letting you know every single fucking day they have to do some fuck shit like bomb a elementary school in order to have like created news. And the thing about it is they lost 100,000 people in a stupid offensive and then blew up an elementary school. So if you ever find yourself on the side of the people uh, dropping bombs on private kindergartens, yeah, started in 2022. But I think there was some shit in 2014. I feel like every time we talk about how long this shit's been going on, the UN experts say U.S. strikes against Venezuela in international waters amount to extrajudicial executions. Okay? Donald J. Trump gave the order to kill people in international water. And they're lying to us. You know what I saw yesterday? I think it was either Rand Paul or Thomas Massey say they're not producing fentanyl in Venezuela, actually. So they're not transporting fentanyl to the United States from Argentina. It's not being produced there. Just so everyone knows. This is about oil and gold, and Donald Trump wants to build a resort on the north shore of Venezuela. That's why he's using the military to attack fishing boats. I hope you don't have any other questions. It is just what it is. That's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. He's raising RAZ, raising fishing communities to move them off that land. So that it's like he's trying to settle it. So again, I always want to make sure we speak right when we talk about what's going on in Ukraine and shit. It's like, hey, yeah, war's been going on for a few years, but there was like a whole thing in 2014. So like again, for the last like decade plus, the world has suffered Trump and Putin and Bibi um, wresting control away from what I thought was a polite society. To be completely honest with you. We should share the show. You know, it's important that good morning. The Indiana Pacers basketball organization plays tomorrow. Justice's waiting room. A daily podcast discussing news and politics. Oh, is live on YouTube and Twitch. I don't know why I said the Pacers play today. They don't play till tomorrow. Got my shit, wore the wrong hat and everything. Just kidding. I think it's time to exempt yourself from paying federal taxes. For what? What should we be paying federal taxes for? SNAP? Because those people aren't gonna have Thanksgiving. I'm gonna need to take my money back to give to somebody for them to have Thanksgiving. What are we even doing? What are we doing? I'm of all things fucking beside myself. Um, Remember, the thing about this is that Donald Trump kind of bluffed everybody, right? I want to continue to use my platform to say, hey, the Russia of today, see my best friend, by the way. I can't do it. I can't get back in on Facebook. I see my best friend, by the way, telling people to separate Jewish people. Oh, it says we're not live? Oh. I don't know what happened. That I'm not live. That's wild. I don't know why we're surprised, right? You should absolutely not be surprised at all. But I do need your help. If you're on Blue Sky, if you're on Twitter, okay? That's what the fuck I'm talking about right there. Kiev Post. Ukrainian drones hit Rostek explosives plant and major oil hub deep inside Russia. 1,200 kilometers behind enemy lines. Hell yeah. Can you imagine being that pilot? How long was that flight? Shit. How far is 1,200 kilometers? Is that like 900 miles? 745 miles. All right, here you go. Key Russian military rail link to St. Petersburg disrupted by explosion near. Oh shit! Yeah, you see the escalation in real time as uh, Richard in California. He's been a popular TikToker showing all the ice shit in California. He's in the hospital. Damn. Yeah, I saw a U.S. Marshal got shot in the hand. Yeah. Well, it's as I've said before. Actual law enforcement is going to have to wrangle ICE. Hmm. Hey, I was drinking margaritas, eating tacos, watching basketball. You know what I mean? I actually had a burrito. I don't even know why I lied. Nigerian farmers need armed guards to protect them from jihadists. Yeah, world's a crazy fucking place. Hell yeah. Newsweek. UK's prepared to deploy British troops to Ukraine. That'll piss off the US. Norway scrambles F 35s to confront Russian recon jets. Yay! The Ukraine is UK is making a new nuclear warhead. For what? ICE in the United States is buying missiles. For what? What are you what are you bombing? What are you shooting missiles at? 8 people. Poland and Romania detained 8 people suspected of planning sabotage on behalf of Russia. A foiled bombing plot. Trump puts Putin talks on hold as Kremlin launches deadly new attacks on Ukraine. Global use of coal hit record high in 2024, despite efforts to switch to clean energy. China and Russia repeatedly tried to defund UN human rights work. Israel urges the Canadian Prime Minister Carney to drop his pledge to arrest Netanyahu, and I urge him not to. What the fuck are we talking about? Israel's ta- This is NPR. Israel takes steps to shut down international aid groups in Gaza and the West Bank. Why would they do that? Morning. As I've said, if you thought we was gonna have 2 days in a row of good news, if you thought that was even a remote possibility, didn't I just say the British are getting deployed to Ukraine? British troops deployed to Israel to monitor Gaza ceasefire. They're gonna create an international crisis, turn that place into a fucking war zone. I mean, it already is, right? Hmm. Holy shit. 6 people killed, 25 injured in Kiev and Oblast during mass Russian overnight missile and drone attack. So you guys weren't kidding. Trump demanded the Justice Department pay him $230 million in what he calls damages as a result of 2 investigations into him. So he's also trying to shake down the DOJ. It's like robbing Fort Knox. He's trying to get himself unalived. He wants so badly to be martyred. Remember, I told you this, that he'll either be martyred or he'll take all of our money and escape to Argentina or Israel or both. Hmm. Yep, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Although they did find a deer stand within the line of sight of where Donald Trump gets on Air Force One in Fort Myers. So, how long would you say he's got left? How you think this is gonna go, Don? How do you think this is gonna go, Don? And all the Republicans. How do you think this is gonna go to everybody? Do you think? Yeah, and the thing about it is, I look at the data. The data tells me the people know who is to blame. The masses know who is to blame for this. Thanksgiving's gonna be rough. That's what I'm not looking forward to. A guy drove his car into the White House gates last night. The Division Two. In in the Division Two, they shoot down an attack helo on the White House lawn, and they just fucking leave it there. Both your boys, yeah, it's gonna be fucking brutal. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, bro. The Russian government approves the establishment of ownership of housing in occupied territories. So Russia is like, we can invade Ukraine and buy a house, and our people can own land in your country because we're occupying. What happens if we have to leave? What happens to the plot if it's no longer under the protection of the Russian, the occupying military? Right? It's a terrible idea. European Space Agency is looking at future possibilities of sending an astronaut to India's planned space station. Hey, that's cool. Oh, my wife and I are already out. I'm pretty positive my wife and I already said we're out for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yep. Because I think we are going to be doing great. I don't think a lot of other people are going to be doing very good. Mhm. Because now the cat's out of the bag. Now that Trump has openly said like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP are fucking gone. What do you think hospitals are gonna do? Small clinics. What do you think all their healthcare workers are gonna do? Look for a job in a bigger building that isn't gonna go under. Hmm. Yeah, no maggots allowed. Exactly. I don't want no maggots anywhere near me on Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm gonna be sad for them fucking kids though. You know what I mean? Although the last time I got a full disclosure, last time I was around one of them little shits, uh, somebody asked them if they liked a musician, and they said no. And when asked why, they said because they're not religious. And it was like, I'm not religious. You don't like me? No. Whoa. Yeah. Your son's going for his driver's test. Oh my god. Holidays are going to be interesting. That's one way to look at it. I sense a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, a lot of trying to figure out what the fuck are we going to do. Stop paying your credit cards, stop paying federal taxes, start growing a garden, look into solar, make yourself less dependent on this machine before it devours you. Exactly. Stacy, exactly. South Korea's Hyundai joins a race for future Greek submarines. And then I see this one. I think it's the last one for international stuff. Canada US tariff deal possible by next week. Cute story. My wife and I should probably get more involved. There is a former, I think he was a gunnery sergeant in my zip code that goes to the bars in the area and does toys for tots, and he dresses up in his uh, dress blues and looks real sharp. We met him at Murphy's, and then I seen him elsewhere too. Well, here's the thing about Saint Nicholas, okay, is that he was real. Santa Claus, not so much. Just a myth. But you could teach him about Saint Nicholas. He was an actual person. Right? Saint Nicholas is a real person? Is that not a whole thing? Saint Nick? Yeah. You get yeah, see? Look, I'm trying to help you teach your kids about Saint Nicholas instead of Santa Claus. Instead of the fairy tale, teach them about the actual person. Okay? St. Nicholas of Myra, also known as Nicholas of Bari, was an early Christian bishop of Greek descent from the maritime city of Patara in Anatolia, modern day Turkey, during the times of the Roman Empire. He was the patron saint of sailors, merchants, archers, repentant thieves, children's brewers, pawnbrokers, toy makers, unmarried people, and students in various cities and countries around Europe. He had a great reputation. Hmm. I learned about St. Nicholas on active duty because he's the patron saint of sailors. His reputation evolved among the pious, and he was commonly known. Secret gift giving gave rise to the folklore of Saint Nick. You're welcome. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Nailed it! I'm just letting you know. You could just tell him, like, no, actually, he was real. He's this person. They just, like, put a red coat on him and a white beard and made him old. Sure. Here's Saint Nick. It's a better story to tell. He was generous. He was just a Christian what was it? A Baptist pastor that gave secret gifts. He was just a really good gift giver. Be a really good gift giver to your kids and teach them to be really good gift giver for their parents. Everybody's hooking everybody up. You know what I mean? Like that's Bob says Santa was taken out by an ice missile. All right, that hit a little too close to home, Bob. You should probably switch to U.S. news. I'm sure that'll be great. Psych. Authorities in Atlanta say they stopped a mass shooting at one of the world's busiest airports. Wow. Atlanta, of all places, I thought they wouldn't be shooting a bunch of motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Jesus. ABC News. The National Guard could stay in Washington, D.C. through the summer of 2006. Yeah, they foiled a mass shooting plot. Yeah, he probably had a fucking aneurysm. Damn. It's kind of a sad story, I guess. Like, it seems like Chess lost like an important member of their community. N- Naroditsky? Yeah. Sad that he was only 29. Yeah. I'm 100% that money is not a good gift. I am 100% on that side. That said, that said, if you don't have a good relationship with someone and you don't know what they want or need, buying them a gift seems heartless. How the fuck could you buy someone something that you don't even know them, right? So I think like cash is appropriate as a gift if you just don't know those people or that's all they want. But I would be mindful of people who say that. I'm not interested in your gifts. You just give me some cash. The fuck? Weirdo. Somebody said hugs are free. Yeah. Uh, I would say personally, not to necessarily talk down homemade gifts or anything. Uh, my parents, when I was growing up, my dad would make sure that he stuck it out there that these kids don't deserve anything, and all they should get is what they need. And so what my mom would do is just give it like tell us to make up a list of the things that you want, right? And I fucked around on that and did not make a big enough list. Because there were years I got it all and I was just like, fuck. Should have asked for more shit. Damn it. But yeah, my parents did not buy thoughtful gifts. They bought what they thought I needed and then what I wanted. And those aren't none of those things are good. Like it doesn't feel good to open socks. It just does it that you need socks. Now, it feels good to open socks and they were like monogrammed for you based on your interest. Those are a thoughtful pair of socks, right? People are like, that's too expensive, Jared. But yeah, a lot of you are going to want to take up knitting as a means of passing the time. Oh, so this is who Jeffries was talking about. If you ever wondered who Hakeem Jeffries was talking about when he was like, if you got something to say to me, come say it to my face. Oh, APAC maybe? Um, Lip gloss and a candy cane. Yeah. Like I was explaining to my wife last night, like I don't shop for cologne for myself. Why would I? I shop for the perfume I smell and think of you, right? That's how you're supposed to shop. We just don't. I don't have the money, right? This headline fucking sucks. Stuff just turns into trash. Brother. Brother. When my mom has gotten me gifts that the only reason I ever even took it out of the bag is because it was in a pile somewhere. And it's just like, oh, right. She just handed me a bag with some shit in it. Here's a pair of long underwear. Like, what the fuck? Dead ass, that's happened before. Warner Brothers Discovery puts itself up for sale. Do what? Have a good day, Beck. Owner of HBO, CNN, and other streaming and studio businesses putting himself up for sale. Well, there goes the fourth wall. A man took videos as his home floated away in the Alaska storms. And it's crazy. Like my house is built at like the apex of our neighborhood too. It's a crazy time to be alive. Bought up by a piece of shit for sure. For sure. It really is. That's why I said there goes the fourth wall. Great. Hey, there's a reason we're here, right? The news will still get out. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hey, look, books about race and gender are to be returned to school libraries on some military bases. Is any? I feel like I'm a canary in a coal mine. Do you ever get the feeling that we're just a bunch of canaries in a coal mine? So here's a former president beginning their prison sentence. Hey, that was really funny, Miss Bobby. So Miss Bobby in the comments says I've been a hairstylist for 40 years. I mean you gotta love it if we're doing it for 4 fucking decades. I can't tell you how many coffee cups I've gotten as a gift. The like go-to gift for your hairstylist. That's funny. I was gonna make a joke about getting you an ashtray, but that would only work if you were a bartender. Sorry. Um, what you will have to learn to appreciate about me, whether you like it or not, is my proclivity to just go for gallows humor. Uh, Apply that how you will. I just thought about that. Where I was like, they are holding some people accountable here. And see, the whole prepper community just needs to hold your fucking pants, kids. It's a very interesting time to be alive. I'll say that out loud. For sure. This guy's gonna go to prison for having Amazon walkie talkies. Just gonna go visit friends and family. Imported some walkie talkies. Huh. Myanmar junta says it seized 30 Starlink receivers. You could not pay me to use Starlink or buy a Tesla. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Whatever, man. Alright, I think we're good. Ha ha ha! Oh man, I want to continue to point out, despite this regime being in power, this kind of shit just keeps fucking happening. Christian musician who sang the national anthem for Trump at his 2022 rally is facing felony child pornography charges. Seen Teslas in town with anti Musk stickers on them. Yeah, because they couldn't give it back to the dealership. But yeah, in case a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh my God, we're in danger." No, one of the things that I look at is data. Americans know who is responsible for this government shutdown. Here we are. I mean, we are 10 days ahead of SNAP payments stopping. The President of the United States says Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP gone. What are we doing? How many combined people in the United States are on SNAP? Oh, let's start with Social Security. SNAP, Medicare, and Medicaid. Ready? 148 million. Half. About 40% of the US. Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, I understand. I understand what that some Starlink, some of its use is good in remote areas. Sure. I also think that Elon Musk would sell you out in a heartbeat. Yeah. Remember, this is all part of the accelerationist plot. The billionaires in power are so wildly unpopular that the only way they could Peter Thiel get their way was to fuck with the election system. And now that they're in power, they're creating a police state. They've got a Gestapo working for them, locking people up, and the whole goal is if you don't agree with them and just live your life normally and keep your head on straight and don't look too hard or too long, don't cry out for anyone else. We won't make you a fucking slave. And I hate to even use that term, but that's literally what their goal is to have forced labor. Hmm? If we can't get you to do it for cheap, how about you do it for free as a criminal? And we will change the laws. I mean, you think I'm being fucking nuts. Mike Johnson just said, let's get rid of the First Amendment. Move the second one up. And they want people, they basically also in the same weekend said, like, if you smoke weed, you shouldn't be able to have a gun. Think about, okay? And then, of course, everyone says democracy is the answer here, right? Because 13 Senate Democrats voted to advance Trump nominees during a shutdown. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like using that term. I just I would not mind seeing Mike Johnson get his just get ragdolled. Mike Johnson says the No Kings protest is worse than the violent threats on Hakeem Jeffrey's life. Hey, I'm just reporting the news. Just telling you what's going on. Fuck Mike Johnson. And I don't mean literally. His boyfriend needs to come out and hold him accountable. So here's Donald Trump's $230 million grift. Yeah, how you gonna take someone's gun away for smoking weed in a state it's legal in? Doesn't make any fucking sense, Don. Come on, man. Cops arrested a 61-year-old woman in a penis costume. Puny God. Yeah. He's weak Loki. Farmers are mad. Ooh, farmers are mad. Ooh. Until farmers are dumping shit on Republicans' front porches. Shut up, bitch. I want to point this out and make sure I say it loud and fucking clear. I do not think. Yeah, cash is just fast and simple. Yeah. happy hump, happy hump day, everybody. Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah. Because the Democratic Party is fractured. Okay. I think it's 98% of elected officials take money from APAC now. Almost everybody. That's why they are not speaking about it, is because they're all beholden. hmm we need to find 600 people that will challenge these people's authority and say, and I'm not pro-Israel. I'm not pro-IDF. I'm pro-ICC. hmm Fuck around, find out. Soon as gonna be a lot of cheap farmland. Yep, yep. And a lot of the farmers I've met in my life were like boys that never grew up that just drive around on their tractors all day and fuck around and somehow make money. Um, hey. Yep. And remember, if you do speak out about it and you're an elected official, you get like death threats and shit. Yo, what the fuck? This motherfucker just shitting everywhere. Trump obsessed over Project 2025 creator getting pussy at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump spoke about it to Russell Vought so much it weirded out some of the president's advisors. What? Yeah, I'm gonna read this story because it's fucking wild. Before Russell Vought became the director of the Office of Management and Budget, he was Donald Trump's side project. In the background of Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, the Republican presidential candidate and the Project 2025 architect shared regular calls, though the topic wasn't always politics. Instead, Trump was fixated on getting the recently divorced Vought laid. Oh, you see how he gets it? You see how he gets you to be loyal? I'm just kidding. Trump was fixated on getting the recently divorced Vought laid, reported ZDO's Swin Subsang on Tuesday. What a weird name. Subsang? Vought's ex-wife, Mary Vought, had left him in 2023 for obvious reasons. The dude wrote Project 2025, which you thought she was going to stick. She was going to stick around. Trump, in turn, appointed himself as Vaught's wingman. Trump spoke to Vought, a self-described Christian nationalist who's now one of the president's most hardline enforcers, about the gorgeous and beautiful ladies who roam Trump's club, Mar-a-Lago, so often that it weirded out some of his advisors. And Trump spoke crudely of all the pussy that Vought would surely get as the president's favorite bachelor. Jesus fucking Christ. Y'all thought JD Vance fucking a couch was bad. And look at Russell Vaught's old ass. Like, come on. And Pete Hegseth is a fucking turd. Make sure we say that shit too. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about here. The Pentagon is barring nearly all Defense Department personnel, including military commanders, from talking to Congress or state lawmakers unless they have received prior approval from the agency's Office of Legislative Affairs, according to a memo signed this month by Pete Hegseth. I'm reading. Unauthorized engagements with Congress by Defense Department personnel acting in their official capacity, no matter how well intentioned, may undermine department wide priorities critical achieving our legislative objectives. The directive applies to the civilian leaders of each military branch, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, all combatant commanders, and defense intelligence offices. The memo, dated October 15th, does carve out an exception for the Pentagon Inspector General Office, the agency's internal watchdog. MSNBC, here's Slawwell, who says what the fuck in every one of his videos now as some attempt to be edgy. Remember, I just want to point out the Democratic strategy to draw undecided voters and Republicans is to curse. I just want you to know that. They think that you're stupid and that if they cuss, you'll like them. That's the Democrats' strategy. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing, and I'm pro-equality and pro-union, and I think that everyone should join a fucking union. You should not be friends with capitalists or people that aren't pro-union or Zionists or MAGA, but like, again, MAGA's dead to me. As I've said, and I'm going to use my platform every single day to say this, a social media firm did an audit of all the people that you hate. Trump, Musk, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, the deceased Charlie Kirk, the elder millennial, all these people that you hate by their following. So remember, 90% of the time that you're having a negative interaction on the internet with someone and you're like, that's a Trumper, that's a robot. Joke's on you. Hmm? Yep. That faction is dead to me. Trump had a nominee that sent Nazi and racist MLK texts. Paul Ingracia, a 30-year-old lawyer. Lawyer. Yep. God, he's unfuckable, huh? Yeah. Looks like a rat. Only recently passed the bar. Mm, I don't know the. Oh, I don't know the. I don't know the fuck that is. But yeah, here's where he got cornered. So everybody's like, "Wait, what happened?" Oh wait, I don't know if this is the one. Stacy said, "Speaking of CK, I've been seeing tons of videos now that are crisp and clear from the audience. So is he dead or not? So I'm pretty sure he got shot in the back." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Want to swim? Tons of links, tons of stories. Republicans are ridiculing no kings. A striking new polls shows Americans are not laughing. Yeah, actually, he withdrew. So that Paul Ingracia that sent those racist texts about MLK and George Floyd and shit, he withdrew his nomination. Mm-hmm. So you can see he's having a real hard time finding people when he's appointing a 30-year-old only recently passed the bar. Mm-hmm. Republicans are downplaying a vote to release the Epstein files, saying that Bill Clinton is in them. And here's a blind man being dragged by federal agents into a ICE facility. Great job, ICE. Great job. I'm sure this is what you signed up to do: is beat up disabled people. Yeah, and here again, James Comer is a fucking turd. Okay, just call people what they are. Is your elected official a fucking moron? James Comer. You're talking about using the 25th Amendment. Don't forget that's part of Project 2025. Remember this, that I told you this. Peter Thiel paid Russell Vought and JD Vance to write Project 2025 for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's mentioned 210 times in Project 2025, but JD Vance makes himself president in Project 2025. Of course he did. Of course he did. If you're following along, you're like, duh. Yes, Senor Couchfucker uh, makes himself king. Yes, when Don gets when he loses his marbles. Senator Jeff Merkley holds in Oregon holds the Senate floor, saying it's to protest Trump's grave threats to democracy. Yeah, right. Or meth. Jewish figures all over the globe call on Israel, call on the UN and world leaders to sanction Israel. Yeah, I did see that President Biden completed his course of radiation. I just hope Joe Biden outlives Donald Trump. That's all I hope happens. The organizers of the No Kings protest claim that this No Kings protest was the largest organized protest against a sitting U.S. president. White House is behind a rare Supreme Court seat decision to limit gun ownership. All you Second Amendment folks, they should never do anything against the Second Amendment. What? By the way, if you really are looking hard for some escapism, Mafia 3. Mafia 3. You can thank me later. You're playing you're playing as a US Army Special Forces that's returned to the South after being useful in the military in like Nam and shit. And you come back home to your family and all hell breaks loose in the South in the 60s as a black man. It's a great fucking playthrough if you need some escapism from reality. If you need to just see what Rampage looks like, what a justified Rampage looks like. But again, we want to point out that I'm talking about a video game and not at all about reality because the other guy has missiles and tanks and fighter jets and satellites, and you don't. So the answer is to save your money. hmm The answer is to stop paying your taxes, stop paying your credit cards, withhold your rent, all that shit. It is time. It is when the president of the United States gleefully talks about destroying Social Security, Medicare, when people that need food aren't gonna get it on the first. It's time to protest, boycott, and strike. And it starts with social media. It starts with Facebook and Twitter. And I know that you don't want to hear that, but you got to get off of those websites. I I have for months since March have not used those sites regularly. I deleted them from my phone. The only way I use those places now is to post links to the show. But no threads, no IG, no messenger. I deleted them all off my phone. Now, I try to not shop on Amazon, but it's kind of unavoidable, right? But there are a laundry list of places that I'll never shop, brands I'll never buy. Okay, Man Cave is coming. I love to see it. I love it. I love that, Bob. You have like a I I'm so lucky that my wife let me make my office my man cave, so I don't really like, you know. Plus, our house is full of boxes still. I'm weird about boxes because I'm like, well, the world could end at any time, and then we need stuff to put our shit in. Um, but yeah. U.S. leaders are erasing black history. So, again, what you won't see are elected officials speaking out about this. But you should. You should see your leadership saying DEI is being used as a smokescreen to roll back progress and consolidate power. The goal is to rewrite our nation's history. Remember that this is a nation of immigrants. Mm-hmm. If you're a white person, if you if you if you identify as white, you are an immigrant, or the son or daughter of an immigrant, or the grandchild or great grandchild of an immigrant. Hmm. Especially if you're white. The only people here in the United States that actually makes sense if you're anti-immigrant, that actually tracks, is if you are indigenous and or Mexican. The land masses are connected. That's what I'm saying. The countries are connected is why I'm saying that actually tracks for someone that's from Mexico, that's North America, to be like anti-immigrant. That makes sense. You don't see that, right? But there's a reason that I feel that one of the major needs that I feel that we need the American Socialist Party that is openly pro equality, where instead of being anti DEI or not fucking talking about the destruction of DEI, I'm pro DEI. Hmm. I think it's great. I think we need diverse thought. Uh huh. It helps drive innovation. Absolutely. We need people that speak a dozen languages to sit in a room and learn to work together. Abso-fucking-lutely. Mm-hmm. Moved in 20. Things are still in boxes. Yeah. Feel like I have a house full of boxes. Trump is a willing pawn in Putin's game of war. Boyfriends. That's what they should be calling Trump and Putin. Boyfriends. Except one of them is like Russian special forces, and the other one's just a shitty golfer. It's like their date got canceled. Their date got canceled, and Russia flipped the fuck out. Russia launched this massive attack hours after Trump meeting canceled. Absolutely. Yep. With the time that you have left. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Is this a light at the end of the tunnel late in the show, Jared? Did you do that on purpose? Suddenly, look at this headline. I need this headline. I'm breathing this headline in. Suddenly, Democratic politicians are running away from AIPAC. You don't say. A long overdue reckoning on Democrats and Israel is finally happening. Even centrists see the way the wind is blowing. Come on, this is the thing we needed today. I needed this right here. Protesters near the 2024 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Oh, sorry, that was not what I was talking about. Announced he's returning campaign donations that he received from individuals affiliated with AIPAC. No longer accept campaign donations from the group. Also, Graham got a. I saw that Graham Plattner got a shitty tattoo when he was on leave in Croatia that's affiliated with white supremacy, and I cannot tell you. Let me make sure I say this to my audience. One of the things that I did while I was on active duty is talk to people about their tattoos and have these kinds of conversations with them. Hmm. Especially like the cobwebs on the elbow, the navigational star, the Star of David, the 8 point star, lightning bolts, all that shit, and called it for what it was. And guys would go get their shit covered up. They didn't want to be affiliated with that shit. They didn't know that 99.9% of the time. Mm-hmm. And there was always that one dude that was a nutbag that kept getting fucking questionable tattoos. That dude got separated and kicked out, dude. Like, people think like the military is full of fucking open racists, and it's like, how do you get promoted and get to keep your job if you're open racist in the military when they could just replace you with the next one that isn't? You're just a number in the military. Yeah, what happened on route visit? Yeah. Proud Boys invented Antifa. The far right gang has been fully absorbed by the White House. So I guess we won't end on good news. The next headline was like, whoa. But yeah, let's take a look at the weather. Holy shit. Yeah, they gotta prove it. Yep, they gotta denounce Israel. You can't just not take their money, and you can't just. You have to say like all of the money I made off of all those dead babies and their mothers. You should return. Because what were you doing with it all? What were you doing with all that money you made? Because you had campaign funds, right? Bob said he got a Fire Academy tattoo back in the day, and you need another one. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We'll see. Is Y'allbot back up? Y'allbot's back. I was really. While my circuit. Alright, alright. Looks like there might be fire warnings in the northwest. It looks like they cleaned up the graphics some. Okay. There is moisture all over the southwestern four states in the country: California, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. Okay. There are what I believe are freeze warnings. Oh, wow. All across the middle Midwest, like a brushstroke. From basically the western edge of Kansas and Nebraska all the way to eastern, what is that? Kentucky, in like an arc. So just a freeze warning in Wisconsin and Iowa and Chicago, and then basically missing us here in Indy because it was 45 degrees this morning when my wife and I went for our walk. Um, I see moisture in Michigan, some moisture in Wisconsin, up up in northern Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, and then the Northeast. Is getting some rain up in the northeast part of the country. You know those, 7, 8 states in the northeast part of the country, from like New York's north, hmm like Boston. Boston's getting some rain today. Okay.
The flood statement is now about
Okay. Just keep your head on a swivel. Let's try to limit avoidable deaths. I think that's a good strategy. A life strategy is try to not die to the obvious shit. Like the weather. Yeah. Okay. Have a great day.